How's it going, guys? Mr. Holton here. And a little birdie told me that you guys wanted some more mods for Mass Effect 3. And if you watched last week's episode, you'd know about the Diversification Project mod, which makes Mass Effect 3 a much more immersive experience through rebalancing NPC populations and many other things. So today I want to talk about a mod that goes hand in hand with the Diversification Project. A mod that's also known as one of the best there is for Mass Effect 3 because it just adds an insane amount of content for the game. That's right, the Expanded Galaxy mod. Now, I sort of covered this mod back in last year with a top 10 video, but I never really did a deep dive into what the mod actually does. So let's do that today. But as usual, I won't be able to cover everything that this mod gives you because there's just so much. Speaking of which, the original mod for Mass Effect 3 still hasn't been completely ported over for the Legendary Edition, so there are still some features missing. Anyway, the first thing I want to mention is the quality of life improvements that come with this mod. We now have different hotkeys on the keyboard that lets you do a number of things. One of them lets you roleplay a bit by having Shepard either lower or raise his gun during missions. While this feature is cool, it can become a problem in fights as Shepard now has to raise his or her weapon before firing, delaying your shots. So I highly recommend that you only lower your gun whenever the fighting stops. Another hotkey lets you instantly toggle Shepard and the squad's helmets on and off. Again, this is another one of those roleplay things in case you think running around on the battlefield without a helmet is a little silly. Now, one thing that I love especially much with this mod is the ability to switch your gear mid-mission. This does not only mean the armor you're wearing, you'll also get to switch your loadout. This functionality is so incredibly cool because there's been so many times that I picked a gun for a mission and then later regretted choosing it because it's just maybe not that good for that certain mission. Speaking of missions, EGM lets you choose DLC and mission timing upon installing the mod. What this means is it basically lets you pick when exactly certain missions become available to you, like the N7 missions. Getting to do these earlier in the game will let you collect some much needed credits and allow you to level up your squad before taking on the main story missions, which is really appreciated. Now, as we get back to the Normandy, we'll explore a number of things this mod does that makes our beloved frigate that much more fun. First off, let's just take a moment and thank the mod authors for making the loading quicker when you go through the scanner to the war room.
You better get down to deck 3.
I can do this all day. And whoa, wait a minute. See this? You now have a war terminal right next to the galaxy map, which removes the necessity for you to run back and forth to the war room just to check on your collected war assets. Oh, and every email is now sorted with the sender's name first, which is another quality of life improvement that's much appreciated. Not only that, but the Expanded Galaxy mod even lets you customize the Normandy and her crew. Wait a moment, seriously? Oh, absolutely. First of all, you can customize your squad mates' outfits through this terminal. Speaking of which, this mod now lets you pick between several different outfits for your squad. You can also assign Normandy personnel. Now, this is a new feature added through the mod, and it's purely for role-playing reasons. But through here, you can assign guards, medical staff, and chefs to the Normandy, making you feel like you're an actual commander of the ship. And hey, what's a commander without a shooting range? That's right, EGM adds the possibility to buy a shooting range for the Normandy. After you've bought it over in the engine room, you can activate it through a terminal in the hangar bay. So if you ever feel the need to practice your aim, here you go. Oh, and to motivate you to get good, Garrus will be silently watching you from behind, together with a number of other crewmates.
I'm Garrus Vicarian.
Now, while we're in the hangar bay, you can also find a crate filled with your old weapons from Mass Effect 2 if you imported your game with the correct upgrades. Oh, and you can also add these huge missiles to Normandy's arsenal. Of course, this is just for show, but it looks badass as hell. Another thing that's been added with EGM is a huge amount of collectibles that you can now find around the Normandy. These will then of course be added to your collection in the captain's cabin. Speaking of the captain's cabin, if you've entered into a romance with someone, say Tali, you can now invite them to hang out in the cabin with you. By interacting with Tali here, the scene switches between different activities like watching an empty fish tank together, to watching movies. Finally, as we make our way over to Liara's room, you'll find that EGM has restored a cut conversation between Liara and Ashley.
Welcome back, Lieutenant Williams.
Yeah, strange being back, but thanks. Got pretty crazy on the Citadel.
What's important is that you made the right choice.
You're right. So what'd I miss on the Normandy?
I could send the Lieutenant Commander audio and video footage of recent onboard events.
Sure. So your drone collects surveillance footage?
Not aboard the Normandy, it shouldn't.
I downloaded this data with EDI's full cooperation and knowledge, Doctor.
Very well.
Just catching up on stuff.
Of course, you can only unlock this conversation if Ashley is still alive, and if she survived the Priority Citadel 2 mission. It is a real shame that this conversation was cut from the original game, because this conversation adds some additional depth to Ashley and Liara's friendship, which, let's be honest, was something that they didn't really seem to have. But hey, EGM fixes that. And that's it. That's everything the mod has to offer.
That was a joke.
Because there's just so many more things that EGM has to offer. And the reason I don't bring them up in this video is because I don't have footage for it yet. Also, since the original Mass Effect 3 mod isn't fully imported yet, there are still things that KK0, the mod author, is probably planning on adding. Well, at least I hope so, because this mod is absolutely amazing, and I really mean that. You can read up on everything that the mod offers on the Nexus page, which I've added to the description below. As always guys, thank you for watching and have a great day. Mr. Holton, signing out.